Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Yahweh, Bahashil, Yahweh Shah, Bahashil, Bahak Badash. All praises, honor, glory, love, respect, faith, and power, and trust, and all credit to my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and my Heavenly Big Brother, Yahweh Shah. Thank you so much for what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of GMS, Great Millstone, who I learned from, and all the men scattered all over the world, teaching His truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and power, Yahweh Bashim Shah. Trying to put a spiritual bug in you Hebrew Israelites' ears, you so-called black Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and you speckled birds. And what is a speckled bird? That'd be a Hebrew Israelite that look like some of the heathen nations, like, for example, a Hebrew Israelite that look like a so-called white person, so-called Chinese person, etc., etc. Got some videos lined up on natural disasters or polluted waters and just polluted stuff, and also plagues that the Lord is bringing upon the whole earth. And fucking shitty drinking water and droughts and El Ninos and earthquakes in diverse places, or just in one place. But anyway, floods from Mexico City to not Berlin. I want to say Belgium, and some part of China somewhere. Anyway, there's a bunch of shit going on, and the Lord is bringing it. So anyway, I'm going to play these videos. I'm going to get into the script, my best ability to say whatever God say through the spirit and power, Yahweh Bashim Shah, the Holy Spirit, the Karak Kadash. Lord willing be on me. Let's get it.
Welcome to the We On podcast, where we explore fascinating stories and ideas from various fields. In this episode, we explore how 9,000 liters of diesel sank into Antarctica after an ice sheet carrying cargo containers broke apart, raising concerns over environmental damage in the frozen region. A powerful storm in Antarctica soon turned into a major environmental concern. A tank with 9,000 liters of winter diesel is believed to have sunk into the sea in Antarctica. The German-operated Neumayer Station 3 lost several tankers containing supplies, special gear, gas cylinders, and batteries after the huge slab of ice they were sitting on drifted away following a violent storm in January. 7 containers resting on the ice sheet were waiting to be loaded onto a ship, with one other container serving as accommodation for crew members exploring the Antarctic region. But a blizzard slammed the station.
Oh my goodness, I can't fucking stand this shit anymore. I know this is CGI or, AI generated, but looking at the penguins and looking at the big old sea lion and all the animals up there in the water and the winter and the Antarctica, they gonna be suffering because of this shit.
Earlier this year. When it ended, the German team noticed that the containers were missing. The research icebreaker Polarstern found that the ice sheet had drifted around 87 miles from its original location. A recovery operation was launched to recover the fuel and batteries using a helicopter. However, the ice sheet was unstable and stalled the operation. That was the end of it, as it failed to show up in satellite images a month later, leading the German researchers to conclude that it had likely broken apart. All the containers are sitting on the seabed, including the one with 9,000 liters of diesel. This has triggered fears of an environmental disaster in the region. The Antarctic Treaty Consultative Meeting said earlier this month that the container is assumed to have been either damaged by falling into the sea or exploded on its way to the seabed. It added, in either case, the fuel is likely to have leaked out. The incident has led to new measures being put in place to ensure containers are not lost in this manner in the future. They are required to be kept at least 5 kilometers from the edge, with the ice sheet closely monitored. The ice shelves in Antarctica are rapidly melting, scientists have warned, leading to fears that global sea levels could rise by several feet. These ice shelves are floating extensions of the continental ice sheet and not attached to the bedrock. They play a critical role in stabilizing the global climate by slowing down the flow of inland glaciers into the ocean. Deep channels like grooves are trapping warm ocean water under the ice, melting it 10 times faster than normal.
Right, I don't get it. Why is it the diesel? I don't know. I guess they're using that fuel to do their work up there in Antarctica. I mean, I don't know. I'm like, yeah.
This has threatened the structural integrity of the shelves, and their collapse could cause gigatons of ice to release into the ocean. Scientists have estimated that if this happens, sea levels could rise by a
Oh man, shut the fuck up with that stupid shit. What about all the fucking animals getting fucked up by that damn diesel fuel that's in the water, fucking up their habitat, their environment? You give a fuck about no sea levels going up. I mean, shit, ain't nothing you could do about that. Anyway, this place getting polluted. Let's see what's going on with French sounding alarm on the drinking water.
Well, it's time now for Down to Earth, which is our weekly segment focused on the health of the planet. So, pesticides, microplastics, and the so-called forever chemicals. That is a cocktail of substances millions of French people are exposed to simply by drinking tap water. This is according to France's Union of Private Sector Doctors, publishing an open letter today to the government and warning the public as well about the risks that might pose. Our environment editor, Valerie de Camp, also with me in the studio to talk a little bit about this open letter. Valerie, we have heard in the past from activists, from NGOs, sounding the alarm about water pollution. We have now medics speaking out. How significant is that?
It is a major shift, Nadia, to see doctors who don't normally talk about the environment now come out and warn the public about water contamination and the health risks that poses. Now, this association publishing the letter represents doctors across the country. And last year, that same group published a different letter to the government once again, but warning about cadmium contamination, cadmium being a carcinogenic metal, and French people ingesting that through the food that they eat every...
It ain't just America. This shit all over. See, there'll be stuff like this being reported that's happening here in America, but these other countries ain't talking about this shit either. I mean, they just now start talking about this shit. I guess, I don't know.
Single day. Now, a year later, they're issuing yet another letter to the French government, but related to a different set of toxic chemicals. But, the bottom line remains the same. Harming the environment does harm, public health. And it is quite considerable to see doctors who don't normally venture into more political territory, come out and speak out about this.
Okay, so what chemicals have been found and what are the possible risks for those of us that drink it?
Right, so you said pesticides, microplastic, PFAS, also known as forever chemicals, because it takes thousands of years for those chemicals to degrade. They're pretty much everywhere in our daily lives, whether it's non-stick pans, raincoats.
Wait a minute. If they call it forever chemicals, it should be forever. 1,000 years ain't forever. Anyway.
Or plastic packaging. The list goes on. And in the letter, doctors describe contamination as a systematic threat with far-reaching health consequences, citing known impacts on our hormones or immune systems, but also citing a rise in cardiovascular disease, cancer, and also reduced fertility. According to their analysis, even though 87% of the country's drinking water is considered safe because it within the limits, the safe limits, 30% of the French population was found to be exposed to contaminated water at least once in 2024. According to their analysis, that's 18 million people. Now, when it comes to pesticides, 14 million people exposed, and microplastics, 400 particles per liter of tap water. They say that we're talking about widespread contamination, according to doctors there. Now, this is not brand new information. French public health authorities have already documented, this issue. But with doctors speaking out once again about this issue, it really shows that pressure is mounting on the government and governments around the globe to really address this.
Okay, so what then are health authorities trying to do?
Well, doctors are pointing out to a lack of oversight, the fact that authorities have minimized the risk of contamination. If you take the example of forever chemicals, France's water management body monitors 20 forever chemicals in tap water. But the reality is that there are about 15,000 substances out there, which we know of PFAS. So last January, the EU-wide protections came into force in the EU, forcing every single member state to monitor PFAS, forever chemicals, in tap water. New substances were added to the list of things that they had to screen for.
I ain't gonna play no more of that, but you get it. Even in France, water's shitty, and they got chemicals all in it. All these shit. Anyway, we gotta get out of here. And then I can't help but keep talking about this more and more because it's being spoke of a lot, but I can't help it. About the damn Google mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes are a menace. They are humanity's deadliest enemy, perhaps.
No, mosquitoes ain't the most deadliest shit. How she say it?
Mosquitoes are a menace. They are humanity's deadliest
No, they ain't humanity's deadliest
enemy, perhaps. According to...
Yeah, they ain't the humanity's deadliest creature. It's Esau, so-called white man, but he ain't white. He's red. He's a baby dick sucking Jewish faggot nigga, Amalek. And look at these niggas doing. Let's just listen to what these niggas doing to the mosquitoes. And there's other bugs they genetically modify.
WHO, they cause an estimated 700,000 deaths worldwide.
Well, yeah, but if they keep fucking modifying these damn big bugs, leave them alone, nigga. But that's the reason why people die, because of these niggas keep tampering with the Lord's creation to make them more deadlier. Don't believe this shit. They like these niggas trying to save the world and shit. The world was already good until Esau came in existence and rose in power. Then the nigga just fucking everything up. Fucking cave beast.
year. And now a Google-linked project reportedly wants to release 32 million mosquitoes in the US in an effort to curb their numbers and help stop the spread of disease. Our next report explaining the science behind the move and also the reactions it's getting.
They kill more humans than sharks, snakes, lions, and crocodiles combined. Every year, mosquitoes spread deadly diseases to millions across the world. They are among the smallest creatures on Earth, yet they are responsible for more human deaths than any other animal. For decades, governments have spent billions trying to control them. Sprays, traps, and pesticides have all been used, but the battle has never truly been won. Now, scientists want to try something very different. A company called Verily, owned by Google's parent company Alphabet, is seeking approval from U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to release up to 30...
And then if they make something that's gonna make mosquitoes like what, go away or something, or either, then what the creatures that consume like fire, what are them damn things called, dragonflies? They eat mosquitoes. What else eat mosquitoes? Birds, bats. Hold on. Let me see what Google got to say. What creatures consider mosquitoes as food? Could just say animals. Dragonflies, the damsel flies, or damsels, the damsels flies. I don't know what the fuck that is. Let's see. Oh, it look like another dragonfly, but it ain't a dragonfly. Anyway, them two. What else? Fish, birds. We have certain birds, amphibians, reptiles, some mammals. Yeah, bats. They known to eat mosquitoes. What else? Spiders. But then all those creatures, see, is a cycle the Lord created. But these dumb motherfuckers, they don't respect that cycle. You get rid of the smallest thing that seems like it's a pest to these bitch ass humans, or bitch ass two-legged creature mammals called, I want to say humans, but yeah, humans, mankind, or whatever the hell you call these niggas. Anyway, these niggas want to eradicate and destroy something, and then it's gonna be a chain reaction. It's gonna affect everything else. These stupid motherfuckers. And then, man, anyway, let me get back to the video. Boy, I hate these people.
2 million special...
Just deal with it, nigga. But then you got Esau, this faggot fucking nigga, want to tamper with the DNA of the damn mosquitoes and turn it into a fucking weapon. You people thinking that, he's trying to make the world a better place for you? No, he's trying to kill your ass.
Actually bred mosquitoes across parts of California and Florida over the next 2 years. The proposal has
places where it stay higher, longer.
ignited a fierce debate. At the center of the plan are male mosquitoes infected with a naturally occurring bacterium known as Wolbachia. The males do not bite people, but when they mate with wild female mosquitoes,
Wait a minute, the males don't bite people? Right.
the eggs fail to develop properly. Over time, mosquito populations can shrink dramatically.
Wow. But if they do that, then how are the other animals going to feed off these suckers? Goodness gracious, boy, this nigga got to go. Esau's a fucking dumb nigga. I only got one comment, but because this video was an hour ago, it was posted an hour ago. But what a fucking dumb nigga. And anybody out there that they don't know no better, you a dumb nigga too. If you all for this shit.
É método natural.
It's a natural,
Look at this dumb nigga.
self-sustaining method because once we implement it, we don't need to come back to it. And it's
But you don't know what the effect's going to be. But, hey, anybody in their right mind would know it's going to be a fucking disaster. There's always a disaster. When Esau put his hands, his fucking nasty ass hands into certain things, it's always a disaster. And he'll be like, did I do that?
Safe because Wolbachia doesn't spread to humans. It won't cause illness in humans.
Right.
And won't cause any problems for the environment or for other animals.
Right. But other animals feed off of these damn... And what if the animals feeding off these damn mosquitoes, what would happen if they fuck up their DNA? What if they fuck up their DNA from the bats, the birds, the fish, the other insects and spiders? When they consuming these damn mosquitoes that's genetically modified, they gonna fuck them up too. They can't take enough of this shit already. Of all these fucking... all these chemicals and pollution.
The idea may sound like science fiction, but it has already been tested. The Google-backed firm had already released 1 million sterile mosquitoes in California in 2017.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that, because I know they were doing this shit for some time.
Another trial conducted by a British company, Oxitec, was deemed a success in 2022.
It was a success. But wait a minute. This nigga here said if we don't have to worry about doing it again. But how y'all niggas still doing it? Listen to this faggot. Listen what this nigga had to say again.
Mosquito é método natural.
It's a natural, self-sustaining method because once we implement it, we don't need to come back to it.
Really? If you already did it in 2017, why are y'all going back doing it again in 2022 and 2024? And I think it was 2017. You got this one in
California in 2017. Another trial conducted by a British company, Oxitec.
And this is in Britain. Okay, well, that's somewhere else. So what was this one in 2017? In South, yeah. It's at California. It was in California, San Francisco, but they gonna do it again in not San Francisco, somewhere else in California. But anyway, but they gonna keep doing this shit regardless.
But critics remain unconvinced. The proposal has triggered concern among some environmental groups. Tennessee Republican Representative...
What the hell was that? A mosquito sucker or something? Shit.
Tennessee Republican Representative Tim Burchett is questioning the move, warning against interfering with nature. For supporters, the project represents a breakthrough in the fight against...
Oh, she capturing. I guess it is a mosquito sucker.
Against one of humanity's deadliest enemies. For critics...
No, that's not the humanity's deadliest enemy. It's Esau Edom, the so-called white man. But he's not white, he's red, he's a baby dick sucking Jewish faggot nigger. Amalek. Anyway, next video. I guess more about insects or parasites, I don't know. Yeah, let me go ahead and keep on going.
Every medical doctor
I'm
who
gonna get to the scripture soon.
graduates in America is told parasites do not exist in America. One thing about ticks that are different than viruses like Ebola, Hantavirus virus,
Yeah, sure got parasites in your food, that's for sure.
or Marburg, like you mentioned. You can't see those. Like
You say there ain't no parasites in America. Hell, you got them in your food, like your pork. People eating that damn pig. Shit, what the fuck? What the hell you think that motherfucker got? Packed full of parasites.
You've never seen those viruses. They're
And
not
people packed full of parasites too. Keep eating that shit.
flying around,
And any other damn shit eater.
crawling around in your skin. You don't see them. They're invisible to your naked eye. Now, how many of you have actually seen a tick or pulled a tick off of you or off your animal? So ticks are real. We've all seen them. You can physically see them, pull them off. How many of you have pulled a tick off realizing the head's still in your body and you're like, oh crap, I gotta get some tweezers. I gotta incise this, pull it out. I mean, how many of us know people who've got ticks in their ears while they're asleep?
Oh.
The head gets stuck in there. I've actually had relatives where this happened. So ticks, you can see them. They're creepy. They crawl around on legs and they suck your blood, bite into you like a leech, like a mosquito. They're just bigger than mosquitoes. So the ticks, they're real creatures and you can see them and they really do bite mammals. And they bite you, they bite your kids. You've seen them. So I think this is why ticks hold an allure a little bit differently than the boogeyman viruses we've all been told to be afraid of. Okay, so you just can't see the Hantavirus or the Ebola virus or the Marburg virus. You can just see symptoms maybe that someone's having who is ill with their symptoms. But we will talk about the Hantavirus or Hantavirus, which is what it's called, and then Ebola and Marburg, because all three of them are identical and there's things you need to know about them and your audiences. So, and to get into ticks and you talking about my origin story in medicine, it happened to be a different condition that starts with an L. But Lyme's disease is considered an autoimmune disease, and my youngest sister was diagnosed with another L disease called lupus, which is an autoimmune disease also. So that's where my journey into medicine and healthcare and questioning the mainstream medical paradigm, that's where that all started for me, was my 11-year-old sister.
Also, it was lupus. So I remembered Lyme. So it was lupus, okay.
It was lupus, yep. So, but that's okay because Lyme's and lupus have an identical vector causing all of their symptoms. So Lyme's disease is a lot of chronic fatigue, body aches, pain. Lupus also has all of those symptoms, and then very physical rashes on their body. Systemically, butterfly rashes is the most common, but anywhere on the human body, they will have those also. And then lots of joint pain, body pain, and chronic fatigue. So they do overlap a lot of them. And the cause of both I found was identical. So Lyme's disease, which has always been blamed on ticks introducing parasites into the human body. So let's talk about Lyme's, because it affects hundreds of thousands in America, if not millions, who have symptoms, but maybe not even diagnosed yet, but living with Lyme's symptoms. So Lyme's is basically this. They know ticks. There's a connection to a deer tick that bites humans and introduces a specific egg of a parasite into your body. Now, this is not abnormal understanding or science, because all of you have heard of another disease that everyone flying to Africa is supposedly have to be vaccinated for. And there's another bug that introduces a parasite into your body, and it's called mosquitoes, injecting inside of you parasites that are then create symptoms in your body called malaria. Okay, so malaria is also a parasite introduced by an insect called a mosquito. Ticks inject into a mammal parasite eggs, leading to a symptom called Lyme's, or a disease called Lyme's eventually. Okay.
Wait, so
that's how this works.
So Lyme's disease is not just, it's not some like strange bacteria or some virus. You're saying that it's the root cause is the tick biting you, and when it's biting you, the tick has some sort of parasite living within it, and then that parasite with those eggs is in the bloodstream or whatever it is, whatever contact, whatever transfer happens there. And so Lyme disease is fundamentally, it is the parasite eggs coming into your body, and I'm guessing then hatching, and that's what then, is that it? Is that kind of at a very fundamental what it is?
It is, yeah. So leeches, mosquitoes, ticks, before they start sucking on your blood, they release a blood thinning agent. So they spit into your bloodstream to thin the blood where they can drink. Otherwise, if they didn't do that, the blood would clot the moment it comes out of the blood vessel. So even if you took a needle and punctured your skin, you're not going to keep bleeding out of there. Within a few seconds, it's going to stop bleeding because your body has clotted the blood. So these insects have to secrete something first into your body in that area that keeps the blood from clotting.
Is that why it's itchy oftentimes, is from what they put in there?
Exactly right. So as the insect or whatever spitting, or the leech is spitting this blood thinning chemical into your skin, this spitting out of stuff, they are secreting whatever's in their spit or within that chemical they're injecting inside you to thin the blood. And often our parasite eggs inside that.
And these devils here are taking advantage of their behavior, what their method is to get blood. Anyway.
Medium, and now it's inside your bloodstream, and then these eggs of the parasites floating around in your bloodstream will then hatch eventually, and then they feed off of your organs and off of your blood and off of your red blood cells and off of your tissues. And these parasites, as they become adult-like parasites and worms, they secrete and defecate the byproducts of the food they're eating, which is you. They're eating off of you, and then they poop in your body, Seth.
So for one, they're stealing your nutrients, they're eating your nutrients, but then they're then defecating poison or toxins back into your body. So it's kind of a twofold thing that's happening.
Yes, so the parasite itself is creating an immune challenge in your body because your body doesn't produce antibodies that can kill all the parasites. Okay, so the worm parasites usually are not handled by your own immune system. The eggs can be passed out of your feces, out of your urine. I mean, that can happen, but not all of them typically. But your body's own immune system doesn't typically have the ability to clear these parasites. So as it's eating off of you, and you are their buffet, you are the parasite buffet. Eventually, the parasite has to go to the bathroom. It's been feeding on you the whole time. And then it will defecate inside your body. And inside of their feces is the bacteria almost every single Lyme's patient is being put on antibiotics for to treat, thinking all of their Lyme symptoms comes from this bacteria. Well, Seth, it's one thing to treat the bacteria, but if you never got rid of what's pooping out the bacteria the whole time, how are the patient's symptoms ever going to completely resolve if you don't get rid of what's releasing
so is
the
this
bacteria
why,
into their body the whole time?
Is this why it's like, it's almost common knowledge within more mainstream medicine that they can't really cure Lyme disease? It's kind of, it's something to say, oh, well, the symptoms might come and go, but you might have symptoms for a really, really long time. Is that because, like most big pharma approaches, they're just treating the symptoms, not the source of the symptoms?
Exactly right. So that is
so they can make more money. I ain't gonna play no more. I got more other videos to get into. But if you want to watch the rest of it, there go the title, there go the channel. Let's get to the next one.
Welcome to Daily Pulse, where we keep your finger on the pulse of the latest breaking news and the news they're keeping from you. A quick reminder to head on over to Rumble to watch our full show. If you're not subscribed to our channel yet, do so right now to catch our no-holds-barred reporting brought to you by the Vigilant Fox and Z.
I did say I was going to get into the scripture sometime. I guess it'd be best I just wait to the end, because I was going to read something earlier and I forgot. But, well.
Media. Tonight, 2 economists just published mathematical proof that AI will destroy the economy. Iran announces a halt to all exchange.
Okay, let me see what she's talking about, Bill Gates. Let me see what she's going to say. This is a lot of news she's going to get into. I'm going to have to skip some stuff.
With the US citing Israeli aggression in Lebanon. Economists just published. Take you through a summary of that paper. Here's a recent.
Okay, let me skip this part.
In a data center, trying to organize.
Okay, they're still on data centers. There's a little commercial she got. Okay, this time about Iran. Oh, this time, yeah, ballistic missiles, Iran. More about Iran. Like a ballistic book bag or some shit, bulletproof book bag.
Sorry, is that really why they set fire? I mean, I don't know.
Oh, here we go.
Today, that's escapezone.com/
Oh, I thought it was bulletproof book bags. They're just some, I guess, some bags.
Pulse. If any of us thought that the Maha agenda or its supposed leaders were ever going to be able to put a dent in the vaccine, aka gene editing, sometimes in a lethal manner industry, boy oh boy were we wrong. The status quo appears to remain, and Moderna is about to cash in yet again. They've just snagged a $50 million Ebola vax contract. They're receiving up to $50 million to accelerate the development of an Ebola
never mind.
Vaccine as the virus continues to spread in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Has anyone figured out how this actually started, or are they giving us some, someone ate a bat soup narrative again, or maybe they ate a rhinoceros foot this time round? Who knows? We still haven't gotten to the bottom of bioweapons development. That was COVID, and yet we are doing these types of pandemics and viruses and very likely weaponized diseases time and time again. And maybe that's not what happened here. We're not saying that for sure. We're just saying that industry just happens to have continued unabated. It goes on that the funding is coming from global health organization CEPI, which told Reuters that it was possible to bring the vaccines to trial phase within a couple of months. Oh, so great of CEPI to keep doing this. CEPI said it would also invest up to $8.6 million for a shot developed by the University of Oxford and manufactured by the Serum Institute of India, and an initial $3.2 million for a vaccine developed by the International AIDS Vaccine.
It's funny how they'll talk about having vaccines and shit and supposedly having a cure, but they don't even have a cure for their own transmitted disease. Sexual transmitted disease. That's right. Supposedly Bill Gates, he a fucking carrying around some fucking diseases. He gave to his wife. Yeah, well shit. All them niggas got diseases. They all diseased. The goddamn nasty niggers. Yeah, I forgot what this nigga Bill Gates got. Well, let's look that up. We ask Google. Google probably know. Shit. What type of transmitted diseases Bill Gates have? Bill Gates does not have, nor has been diagnosed with any sexual transmitted disease. Nigga. But then they gonna say, but, hold on, what is this? Undefined claims regarding sexual transmitted disease were drafted in 2013 email written by the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. A spokesperson for Bill Gates called these allegations blah blah blah. Yeah, this nigga's he got some damn. Yeah, talking about Bill Gates refutes STD from Russian girl claims. Yeah. Anyway.
Initiative. Every day counts in this race against this deadly disease, said Richard Hatchett, head of CEPI, adding that the vaccines are on a not infinitely distant horizon. That said, Hatchett also cautioned that
you got that vaccine for the Ebola, people gonna die for sure.
vaccine development can be unpredictable. Plus, there's a challenging security situation in eastern Congo that might make trials complex, which includes most recently locals setting fire to an Ebola treatment center after they were stopped from retrieving the body of a dead man. The crowd set fire to 2 tents fitted with 8 beds run by a medical charity called the Alliance for International Medical Action, said Deputy Senior Commissioner Jean-Claude Mukendi, head of the Public Security Department in Ituri province. Is that really why they set fire? I mean, I don't know the entire details of this story, but we have the official narrative. It's because they couldn't retrieve a dead body. But what is the narrative from the locals? Is it because they actually view this Ebola treatment center as something other than a treatment center? It would be interesting to find out those details. So far, there have tragically been 282 confirmed cases and 42 deaths in the recent outbreak, and around 1,100 suspected cases, according to the African CDC and the World Health Organization. How are they assessing those suspected cases? Likely PCR, which of course we know is a fraudulent testing method. Beyond the DRC, 9 cases have been confirmed in Uganda, including 1 death. 2 weeks to stop the uncontrollable anal bleeding and 50% chance of death, asked Zero Hedge. CEPI was conceived in 2015 and formally launched in 2017 at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. It was co-founded and co-funded with $460 million US from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In 2022, the Gates Foundation pledged another $150 million, matched by Wellcome Trust, for a total of $300 million.
Alright, well, these niggas need to be stopped. Only the Lord can make that happen. I just pray the Lord come and do it fast. I'm about sick and tired of these damn devils. Let's get to the next video.
Welcome back. Well, to put some perspective surrounding what we just saw from our own Haley Bickelhoff out in the Western Plains, we have Ben Rand, a crop insurance agent, but he's also with Blue Line Futures. Ben, when we talk about the drought and wildfires' impact on producers in the plains, how widespread is this?
You know, this is almost something that's hard to put a border on. It's so large. The easiest measurement that a lot of people have asked me about is about the fires and how many acres were destroyed by the fires in Nebraska. And we had over 1 million acres just in wildfires that are gone of grassland pasture. But the overall drought condition is way larger than that. I mean, you can track it all the way down to southern Colorado, well up into Choteau, Montana. Have clients in central Montana that have irrigation system failures up there as well. So the scope of this thing is so large and so big. It's well outside my draw, and I have never, in this agency, we've never dealt with something of this magnitude before. It's really unprecedented.
Ben, how early did you start hearing from farmers that they were worried about even having a winter wheat crop to harvest this year?
So the very first set of problems that was identified wasn't actually the wheat, it was sugar beets. And I would say that was in February. You know, wheat has 9 lives. That's the typical nomenclature everybody says, and they always think the wheat's going to come out of it. So nobody really started to worry about wheat until probably mid-April. But the sugar beet problem started bubbling to the surface as early as February because there are no non-irrigated sugar beets out here. And so in order to plant sugar beets, you must have a reasonable expectation to get the water you need to grow your guarantee. We knew as early, or had suspicions as early as February going into March, just with like reports that we were getting from ski resorts and the Front Range and Intermountain West snowfall totals, that we were going to have a massive water problem. It was going to be a big water issue. And so the wheat showed up probably in April, but the early signs that we were going to have water issues, I'm going to say were mid-Feb probably, and it was regarding irrigated sugar beets.
So in states like Nebraska, Kansas, Colorado, Montana, how dire is the wheat crop? I mean, do you think this crop could be cut in half? Is it more severe than that?
Nationally, you know, I don't want to say it'll be cut in half nationally. I don't have much insured east of central Kansas or central Nebraska. I got a few clients over in the eastern Corn Belt, but you know, eastern Kansas will always produce a pretty good wheat. So I'm not going to speak nationally, but I will tell you, in the West here, I'm seeing appraisals that are so dismal. The vast majority of stuff is under 2.5 bushel. And what is out there is not mechanically harvestable. The heads are just too low. So it's such an odd situation to have. Obviously, the continuous crop wheat's in worse shape than the summer fallow. But the summer fallow stuff that was planted early is in very poor condition too. And, you know, I've talked to some other analysts. We kind of laugh about, like, where is the good wheat? I drive 125,000 miles a year. I don't know. I can't show you a good wheat crop anywhere in my draw.
Wow. Well, now,
famine.
As we look at prevent plant claims and the spring planted crops, I mean, we've been talking about winter planted crops, but let's talk spring planted crops and prevent plant claims. Do you think we will see an uptick in prevent plant for spring planted crops this year?
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. The last time that we had a the peril of it, the peril is actually not considered drought, because on irrigated crops you don't get coverage for drought. It's just not a covered peril. You're expected to be able to irrigate and artificially apply your water in the quantity and the time needed to grow your APH. And if you can't do that, then you don't have an irrigated practice. So the real question became, do we have the water? And districts started putting out letters, and we realized we didn't. And the last time that we had anything remotely close to this was 2002. There was a pretty good drought on the North Platte Valley. You know, runs from, call it Ogallala up through Scottsbluff into the mountains of eastern Wyoming. And in 2002, there was a lot of irrigated prevent plant along the North Platte Valley. This year, that stretches from literally from Great Falls, Montana to southern Colorado. I've been doing this since 2014. I've never had a prevent plant claim on irrigated acres ever. And I have one on anyone that has surface water. In mid-May, I would say it was the 13th or 14th, we got our first curtailment letter on well water. So now the wells are being affected. May 15th, we got our first report of a well pulling air. That is something we don't see typically until July or August, if it happens. And here we are, crops not even planted, and guys are trying to pre-water to put it in the ground, and wells are pulling air. We have farmers trying to manage irrigation wells, shut them off so their residential wells will flow. I mean, I've never seen something like this. It's just the only way to just.
And what about some places? In some areas, they use this well to get water for agriculture and for residents. But what about the data centers? Yeah, that's another issue. Shit.
Describe it.
Wow. Well, we know USDA said this week 56% of the U.S. hay crop is in drought. What are you hearing from cattle producers about hay availability and feed costs heading into this summer? Do you think that could accelerate some of this herd liquidation that we're hearing about?
Oh yeah, like specifically, I'll tell you, I've had conversations with a number of cow-calf guys, and if there was maybe a year where there was a questionable cow that sloughed a calf, and maybe you'd keep her around, maybe she is leaving same day, like she loses the calf, it's gone. The decisions on what to cull are quick, easy, and fast. And yes, it is going to accelerate it. There is very little hay in this part of the world. I'm not going to say none. It's extremely tight. There is some, but even first crop grass cuttings that you're coming out of like the Dakotas are very poor. I talked to a guy near Yankton, and he was thinking he maybe had 50% of what he normally produce on a first cutting for grass. And you're seeing some really pretty high prices on hay at the barns, and it will absolutely accelerate everything as far as herd liquidation. The grass ain't there. We've got bigger problems brewing. Not only are like sugar beets affected, but irrigated corn out here. We're gonna have a lot of irrigated corn that doesn't get planted. We're gonna have dryland corn that doesn't get planted. There's gonna be feedstock problems for a while. Ethanol plants are gonna have to take that in consideration. So yeah, herd liquidation is around.
I'm gonna stop right there. You wanna watch the rest of it? They go to title, they go to channel. Got caught up in the moment. I was gonna stop at 5 minutes, but shit, I forgot. Stop at 5 minutes. Let's get to the next one.
We've been telling you how drought is impacting ranchers in the Sandhills. And about 2 hours west, a farmer in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, tells me he's seeing a Dust Bowl 2.0. Now he explains why this year is unlike anything he's ever seen before.
I don't know how deep you can go here. The difference 1 inch makes around here is we have very good water holding capacity in our soils for what it is, but you got to have some.
But James Mazer in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, doesn't have any rain. He's seen about 1 inch of measurable moisture since last June, which means he's planting only half of his corn and pinto bean acres this year.
I know we're a little a micro area in the corn planting world, but when you see thousands of acres of corn seed getting returned and thousands of it, hundreds of thousands of acres of chemicals being not purchased, it makes people scratch their head and they're kind of like, now what's going on out there?
The National Integrated Drought Information System says Scottsbluff is experiencing its second driest year to date in the last 132 years. The U.S. Drought Monitor confirms that statistic. It shows nearly 50% of the county is an exceptional drought and the other half is an extreme.
We are 16 to 20 inches behind. So we get a 15-inch annual rainfall, so we're looking at a year and a half. We're missing a year and a half of rain.
Well, that year
God dang, yeah, famine.
and a half also includes record low snowpack in parts of the Wyoming
Dust Bowl 2.0.
and Colorado mountains. That snow supplies the North Platte River system, which irrigates these fields in western Nebraska. The Farmers Irrigation District, which manages water for farms around Scottsbluff, reports that the Upper Platte snowpack levels are at just 37% of normal.
We've never tried to pre-irrigate with sprinklers since I've been farming for 30 years, and I guess this is how the best way to describe it. This is ground that has not been pre-irrigated. I don't know how deep you can dig. It's real cloddy. It's terrible. The only difference between this and this is 0.9 inches. We put on almost 1 inch.
But even with 1.5 inches of water applied to this field, you can still see the dust billowing in the air. Mazer says 70-degree days in January with 70 to 80 mile an hour winds has blown soil all over the place. In fact, this is a cover crop field of rye. You can see it in the background, but in the foreground, strong winds have blown it bare.
It didn't matter what the condition was, you just don't hold soils at 80 miles an hour.
This year, farmers in the area are allowed to turn on their irrigation on July 1st, which is later than usual. They'll get 25 days to apply water.
25 days starting in July when it's 95 degrees isn't going to do us any good. I would say bare minimum for this area, you need 60 to even raise a crop, and 80 is probably a normal year.
But the bigger problem,
do not see anything growing in this until we get an inch of moisture.
Making it to July 1st.
That's a lot of wishing and spending a lot of money. I'm not that optimistic. If we're not going to put the money out there if I don't see a return coming.
Mazer believes that prevent plant insurance will be a lifesaver for farmers in the area.
Without it, there is no hope for anybody around here. There's nothing we can plant, nothing we can get growing.
But Ben Rand, a crop insurance agent from the home agency, says that's not even enough to help most farmers. The current situation is something he's never seen before.
May 15th, we had our first report of a whale pulling air. That is something we don't see typically.
We just seen this guy earlier. Let me stop it right here. Let's get to the next video.
The impact of the Iran conflict is reaching far beyond the battlefield. From South Africa to Australia, wheat farmers are feeling the pain of surging fuel and fertilizer costs. Concerns are now emerging over global wheat supplies and food prices in the months ahead. Here's more.
South Africa's wheat farmers are under intense financial pressure. Years of cheap import and weak local prices had already squeezed profitability, but the Iran conflict has added a new layer of pain. The cost shock is forcing some producers to scale back planting plans, raising fears that South Africa could harvest less wheat this season. Farmer Koos Blackenberg has over 2,000 hectares of wheat production, but is planting less wheat this season due to the Iran war.
We've seen a doubling up in diesel prices. Fertilizer prices have nearly doubled. And if you add that cost per hectare, and you look at the price that we get for our wheat and also for our canola, it is impossible to make any money. It's impossible to have a profit.
The rising costs are hitting an industry already grappling with climate challenges. Farmers say higher fertilizer prices could reduce application rates, hurting yields and long-term soil productivity. Agricultural economists warn that the crisis is pushing some operations to their limits, with more farms coming onto the market as producers struggle to remain viable. For farm manager Haynes Stemmet, who has spent a decade working on wheat farms in the United States, followed by another 10 years here on this farm, wheat production is a passion.
After you seed it, probably about 4 to 5 days, you'll see this plant come out of the ground. I don't know how to describe the satisfaction of to see that thing grow until comes November when you've got to harvest it. And then you take it to the mill. At the end, you'll see a loaf of bread on the shelf.
The pressure isn't limited to South Africa. Thousands of kilometers away in Australia, the world's third largest wheat exporter, farmers are also cutting back. Growers report planting less wheat and using less fertilizers as costs surge. Australia imports more than half of its nitrogen fertilizers from the region, making it particularly vulnerable to supply shocks.
With the triple whammy of weather, fuel and fertiliser, I think we're likely to see a drop in production right across Australia. I think everyone will be trying to save their money and put it into, just make sure that they can get through to the other end and get to next year and go again. That's the most important bit, is making sure you're right to go next year.
The consequences could extend far beyond individual farms. Analysts warn Australia's upcoming wheat harvest could be sharply lower if dry weather persists and farmers continue to cut input use. With South African farmers also scaling back and other producers facing similar cost challenges, the Iran conflict is evolving into a global food security concern. Business Bureau, WION, World is One.
Yeah, famine.
El Nino is one of the most important weather patterns on the planet, helping drive extreme weather around the world. Now, our globe, look at that, pretty impressive, eh? Shows the pattern of heat in the tropical Pacific Ocean. That is the engine room of El Nino. Now, at the end of last year, that's what we're showing here, it was still showing the impacts of El Nino's sister weather pattern, La Nina, which has a cooling effect. And you can see heat over there in the west, cooler temperatures over here in the east. Now, as we move into this year, look at that. The normal winds, the trade winds have weakened, on some occasions even reversed, allowing the warmer surface water to move eastwards across the Pacific. You can see it there building up off the coast of South America.
Now, how is this shit showing the reflection on the glass? The reflection of the glass. It's showing him and this globe, sphere, whatever you call it, of Earth. I guess it's a blue beam projection.
And that is a classic sign of an impending El Nino. We can get a better idea of what's happening if we look below the surface. Look at that. So satellites, moored buoys and ocean floats show a huge wave of unusually hot water developing below the surface of the equatorial Pacific. Now that's the red area you can see there. Now when that heat wells up, some forecasts suggest the surface temperatures in some parts of the Pacific Ocean could rise by more than 2.
Godzilla, El Nino could be one of the strongest ever recorded. Yeah.
2 degrees.
It'd be the plagues of the Lord.
Celsius, possibly even more. Now that would make this an unusually strong El Nino and would deliver a really significant blast of extra heat up into the atmosphere. So what will that mean for the world's weather? Well, all that extra warmth is expected to drive up global temperatures, making 2027 one of the hottest years, perhaps even the hottest year on record. El Nino is associated with droughts in the Amazon region and with hotter, drier conditions in Australia, Indonesia and parts of Southeast Asia. It can disrupt India's monsoon rain, hitting agricultural production and water supplies. At the same time, it's often linked to much heavier rainfall in parts of western South America and during winter across parts of the eastern United States, raising the risk of flooding. And what about the weather here in the UK? Well, we are thousands of miles away from the tropical Pacific and our weather depends on all kinds of other factors. But the Met Office says El Nino is associated with a milder start and colder end to our winters. And of course, we buy food from all over the world, so supplies and prices are affected by the weather elsewhere. Here's the thing, El Nino is happening on top of the long-term increase in temperatures caused by climate change. Now that is shown...
No, not by climate change.
By this line. Now if I add in El Nino years, shown in red, you can see how they peak temperatures, add in La Nina, the cooler sister weather pattern to El Nino in blue, and you can see that drives temperatures down. What it's telling us is that while climate change isn't making El Nino happen more often, it is amplifying its effects because a warmer atmosphere and ocean fuels more intense heat, more droughts and more heavy rainfall, which is why some weather experts are saying this strong El Nino may give us all a glimpse of our climate future, which is already taking shape.
Yeah.
Zaxby's just dropped a whole new line of dry rubs, and they're not playing around. Who's got the sauce? Zaxby's
God damn, I just fucking God shit. God, you can't skip these ads for shit. Zaxby's just dropped a whole Zaxby's. See the shit?
Zaxby's just dropped a whole new line of dry rubs, and they're not playing around. Who's got the Zaxby's just dropped a whole new line of dry rubs, and they're not playing around. Who's got the sauce?
A catastrophic combination of climate-driven extreme weather, severe drainage saturation, and an unprecedented convective storm system has plunged the western borough of Coajimalpa de Morelos into a state of emergency. Following days of atmospheric instability across central Mexico, a localized supercell cloud burst on the evening of June 1st, 2026, unleashing torrential downpours, violent wind gusts, and a historic hailstorm that rapidly transformed major thoroughfares into raging, ice-choked rivers. The severity of the precipitation forced the Mexico City Secretariat of Risk Management and Civil Protection, SGIRPC, to elevate its early warning infrastructure to a purple alert, Alerta Purpura, for Coajimalpa, the absolute highest tier in the city's meteorological risk protocol, reserved exclusively for extraordinary weather anomalies that present immediate hazards to population centers and public infrastructure. Neighboring demarcations, including Alvaro Obregon and Magdalena Contreras, were placed under red and orange alerts as the massive storm system drifted across the rugged topography of the Valley of Mexico. According to initial telemetry released by the Mexico City Meteorological Network, the storm cluster dropped more than 80 millimeters of water and accumulated hail within a concentrated window of less than 3 hours. For context, this volume represents more than half of the entire regional average rainfall historically recorded for the onset of the summer rainy season. The high-altitude topography of Coajimalpa, which sits at an average elevation of 2,750 meters above sea level, acted as an orographic amplifier. Warm, moist air masses moving inland from tropical systems off the Pacific coast collided violently with cold atmospheric fronts over the mountainous terrain of the Sierra de las Cruces. This generated rapid, vertical convective clouds capable of generating large-scale hail and severe downpours. Within minutes, standard urban drainage baselines were rendered completely non-functional as frozen hail.
Well, anyway, it's hailing and it's flooding. It's Mexico City. Let's get to the next one. Plaguing you Israelites, you Israelites down now. Let's see what's going on in Belgium.
Belgium is cleaning up after torrential rain triggered flash floods across parts of the country, inundating homes, roads, and businesses. The province of Namur was among the worst hit areas, where residents are now assessing the damage. Weather authorities have issued storm alerts as severe thunderstorms swept through the region. Here's more in the next report.
It was catastrophic. It was a disaster. We were paralyzed because in the end, there was nothing more we could do. We just had to wait for it to pass. And so this morning, I really didn't feel like getting up and seeing the damage, especially on a Sunday. And then when we got up, we saw it, and we're now making a full list for the insurance companies.
With global warming, the experts had warned us in advance. The further we go in time, the more the climate will warm up and the more intense the rainfall will be. Of course, the system won't be able to cope, so we're going to be flooded regularly. Yes, that's what I think.
What is this? Meteor? Yeah, I guess I'll play that as soon as I get to this one.
On May 29th, Guangzhou and Shenzhen were hit by a violent storm with winds reaching level 12. Videos from the scene show a grey-white sky and rapidly dropping visibility as a massive gust swept through. 2 large freezers outside a convenience store were almost instantly overturned by the wind. The strong airflow then slammed into the store's glass doors, shattering the glass and sending fragments flying. The wind roared on, toppling rows of parked motorcycles along the street. In just seconds, the storm threw the street into chaos, with video images shaking violently as the scene unfolded, capturing the intensity of the event.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
At an outdoor parking lot, fierce winds swept across the area. As gusts intensified, visibility dropped rapidly, with a grey haze engulfing the surroundings as if swallowed by wind, rain, and mist. Amid the storm, a 3-wheeled vehicle was lifted and pushed along by the wind before eventually tipping over. Nearby, a small car struggled forward, its body buffeted and strained against the gusts. The entire lot was nearly consumed by the storm. In another residential area, a large rooftop was quickly lifted and torn off by the strong winds, crashing heavily to the ground. Due to the limited footage, it is unclear whether anyone or any vehicles nearby were affected. Still, the destructive power of the wind is striking. Just 6 days earlier, a tornado struck Aotou town in Guangzhou's Chonghua district. Videos posted online show that around 4:40 p.m. on May 23rd, a powerful tornado appeared near Huaxia Vocational College. Dark clouds loomed suddenly and winds intensified as debris from the ground was lifted and spun into the air. Temporary structures at a construction site were overturned by the gusts. Meteorologists from the Guangzhou Meteorological Bureau and Chonghua District, in coordination with the Foshan Tornado Research Center, arrived to assess the scene. They confirmed multiple fallen trees and a 2-story temporary building at the construction site had been destroyed. The tornado formed around 5 p.m., moving from west to east. Rather than causing widespread destruction, it swept along a narrow path approximately 1.5 kilometers long, lasting only about 3 minutes. The most affected areas stretch from the Second Central Primary School in Alto Town to the construction site near Huaxia Vocational College. Based on the damage, authorities classify the tornado as moderate in intensity. Fortunately, its short path avoided densely populated areas and no serious injuries have been reported. Still, in just a few minutes, the tornado toppled trees and overturned buildings, underscoring that this round of extreme weather goes far beyond ordinary wind and rain. Amid this sudden natural disaster, ordinary citizens bore the brunt of the chaos. A video shows a street vendor hurriedly trying to pack up his stall as the storm approached. Suddenly, the wind and rain intensified. A powerful gust knocked him off the balance, sending him stumbling to the ground and dragging him.
They censored him falling? Whatever.
Him about a meter. Struggling to his feet, he barely had time to recover before rushing back to secure his tables and goods, fearful that the next...
Now he's not rushing anymore. He just like, fuck it, since he feet, he's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna take my time now. He's like,
gust might sweep his entire stall away. Street vendors on Fenshou Street in Shenzhen were not so fortunate. The rain's coming down so hard it's terrifying. Videos show street stalls being overturned by the fierce wind, with frames and goods scattered across the ground. Nearby, shopping carts from a supermarket were swept into the street, sliding and colliding uncontrollably. The entire street was engulfed by the wind, turning objects into dangerous projectiles. Between high-rise buildings, the wind howled ominously. Trees along the street swayed violently, with branches and leaves flying through the air, and some trees appearing to be uprooted. Stalls, advertising boards, and sunshades could not withstand the gust, toppling one after another. Lightweight debris like trash and plastic bags were lifted into the air, leaving the street in complete disarray. Meanwhile,
I'm gonna start right there. You wanna watch the rest of it? They go to the title of the video, they go to channel. Let's get to these last 2 videos.
This is Dabu 7, an earthquake update as we have a pair of large earthquakes hitting right off the west coast. This has sent shockwaves across 2 different states this morning. USGS sending out alerts after they detected a 5.7, followed by some swarming and then another 5-pointer later. Multiple coastal communities from Eureka in California all the way up to Reedsport in Oregon. That's about 240 miles north. They all felt tremors connected to this.
Oh, I thought it'd be... Well, this is earthquakes in diverse places. I thought it would just be in San Francisco, but it's in different places. Oh, it says 2 U.S. states. So it's diverse places. Anyway.
Again, the seismic event followed by 5.1. That struck right around Eureka. It has around 25,000 people in that region. The USGS early warning system activated by the quakes and sending out automatic warnings to thousands of people's phones and devices in that area. There is no tsunami warning with this, but there's quite a bit of activity. We'll go over here to the earthquake map real quick. And you can see from up in BC all the way down to Baja, we have activity here. And the biggest activity up here near the California-Oregon border. Now these areas are overdue. I've covered this in separate videos. You have multiple fault line systems in the U.S. that are overdue for massive quakes. I'm talking 7-pointers or greater. And you get down here to the Hayward Fault, it runs down here with the San Andreas. That's what you got to start to worry about there. Up here, you have the Cascadia that runs off the coastline, and then you also have this wild plate here, the Juan de Fuca plate, that cuts and zigzags back right here. And that's right where we're seeing a lot of this action. But if you're on the West Coast, you should know, you should have a plan. Especially
to... Your plan should be with your how about Shema Shah getting right with them.
Get to hire.
And try to do that in your best ability. That should be your plan, because whatever you got, whatever this nigga talking about plans, I mean, nothing wrong with having some things for emergency. But I don't think that shit gonna get you, and gonna save your ass, no.
Ground, if any quakes pop off.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to just stand in some place where it's I don't know, if an earthquake happens, you don't want to stay somewhere where things is going to collapse or fall, so it's best to move or do whatever, but also don't forget to pray to Yahweh Shema Shah to guide you to the right path.
Again, from the New Madrid all the way to the San Andreas, the Hayward Fault, we have areas that are overdue. And we've got this quake swarming, smaller quakes, mid-sized smaller quakes running all through California, all the way down outside of San Diego. If you guys feel any of this activity, let me know in the comment section. I'll update if we see any more. Join me for the live shows going live.
See what this video about.
Welcome to the We On podcast, where we explore fascinating stories and ideas from various fields. In this episode, we explore a dramatic celestial event that caught thousands off guard and sparked a wave of concern across the region. As investigators searched for answers, the source of the disturbance proved to be anything but ordinary. A meteor entered the Earth's atmosphere and exploded over the northeastern United States on May 30th, NASA said. It was also confirmed by the American Meteor Society that said that loud boom heard by residents in multiple states was a 3-foot wide meteor exploding near the Massachusetts and New Hampshire border. Several videos on social media showed people in panic as the sound of double boom was heard. The boom reportedly shook buildings in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. According to the Associated Press, initially, the police agencies and others scrambled to understand what caused it. NASA, in a post on X, said that the meteor appeared to have fragmented at an altitude of 40 miles over northeast MA and southeast NH. The energy released at breakup is estimated to be equivalent to about 300 tons of TNT, which accounts for the loud noise, NASA explained. The agency's officials also confirmed that the meteor was natural material, not a satellite or space debris, and entered the atmosphere at 2:06 p.m. local time. American Meteor Society program monitor Robert Lunsford said that it was unlikely the meteor struck the ground. It was definitely bigger than a normal fireball, about a yard wide, he said. We would need more information about the trajectory, the speed, and other...
Fireballs lighting up the sky. Whoa! Sonic booms rattling homes. Animals sent scurrying. And one meteorite crashing through a roof. Boom. The latest came over the weekend, a 5-foot meteor exploding above Massachusetts, with a boom heard across the region.
Here in New England, that's pretty insane.
Mike Hankey of the American Meteor Society has been tracking it all.
When we observe daytime fireballs, they're kind of special, okay? They get people excited, they often have the booms, they have to outshine the sun.
In Ohio, a meteor blazed across the sky in March and a sonic boom followed. That month in Houston, reports poured in of a bright fireball and a loud blast. Later, a homeowner found a meteorite had punched into her house.
That's where it came in at.
Extremely rare, as most meteors burn up in the atmosphere. Along the Jersey Shore in April,
a lot of people have been reporting seeing something streak across the sky.
A daytime meteor drawing hundreds of reports, loud booms followed. In the Pacific Northwest, a vivid green fireball streaking overhead in late April. And in South Carolina just last week, a mysterious boom shaking the state and confusing residents. The USGS ruled out earthquakes, and experts say a large meteor is a leading theory.
Is this something that people should have on their minds all the time?
Not at all. Most of them are associated with objects that
I'm gonna say one thing that should be on people's minds, well, you Israelites mainly, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and you speckled birds, it's Yahweh Shema Shah. Yep.
Burn up in the atmosphere.
But is there an uptick in these events?
There was a big uptick, a noticeable uptick. It came on quickly. And
I couldn't help myself. I had to say what I had to say. If you don't like it, kick rocks.
He's saying March alone had more than double the average meteor reports, but that spike ended this spring. The latest flurry we've seen, he says, is anomalous. As we watch these jaw-dropping videos, scientists say they are glued to the data.
All right, Stephen Romo joins us. So, Stephen, is there anything to this uptick? I mean, what are they saying?
Yeah, it's really sort of alarming to learn that NASA is not tracking things nearly as much as I thought they were. Even that one over Boston that was 5 feet around, they weren't keeping a close eye on that because there's just too many things that are zipping around space right now. It's really got to be the size of a football field before they can actually keep a good track on it. But they do say there's really nothing we can do about it here on Earth, but they are tracking those large, dangerous ones, and they do have an eye on that.
Incredible the sound and the force, even from that 5-foot object, how much it can do. Thanks so much, Stephen, for looking into that.
Yeah, anyway. Alright, let's get to the scriptures. Finally, I can get to the scriptures. I hate to wait so long, but it's best just to save the best for last. Pollution. Let's get to that. A natural disaster, not a natural disaster, what you call it, a pollution disaster, and polluted water, and mosquitoes, all that shit. Micah chapter 2 verse 10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, shall destroy you even with a sore destruction. Ain't nothing gonna survive on this planet if Esau keeps, and these heathens keep ruling the world and fucking everything up, killing the animals. creatures, the life, everything, even yourself. We got, and them niggas, they got to be, the Lord got to come and save these dumb ass niggas from destroying themselves. Let's move on. What else we got? We got all this DNA and RNA. These niggas are tampering with the Lord's creation. From the smallest things that's gonna affect the biggest things. It's a chain reaction, man. This devil need to be stopped. Just altering stuff. Damn, leave it alone. If it ain't broke, stop trying to fix it, nigga. But that's Esau for you. Not James. I'm gonna say Psalms chapter 64, verse 5. They encouraged themselves in the evil matter. They commune of laying snares previously. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities and accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. So they work hard trying to do all kind of mess, creating abominations in their laboratories, studying this, studying that, and creating diseases and such. Just for whatever purpose or reason they have. I mean, still, we got to get out of here. These devils got to be stopped. Let me see. Droughts. What we got? Droughts in America. The land of graven images. Droughts. In Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 38, a drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up, for it is the land of graven images. Yeah, where you can worship whatever, and they got symbols for all these damn things. Like you got Jeebus, a cross, some dumb shit, a big old block. I don't know what else. All these niggas got all these different things that represents their idols, and they are mad upon their idols. Yeah, their idols they pray to ain't doing shit because they don't exist. They don't real. They don't breathe. They're not alive like Yahweh Shema Shai is. And that's who's bringing all this destruction. And the droughts also bringing in the famine. Man, it's bringing in a famine of bread. Let's get to that. Ezekiel chapter 5, verse 16. And let's see. And this is in, what is it? This drought is going on in America. And also, not just the droughts, but whatever this is about global grain hubs. Brace for supply squeezes. Because why? Because there's a fuel crisis and fertilizer crisis. And what else it says? Hits wheat producers. Yeah. So that's part of that famine. Ezekiel chapter 5, verse 16. When I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for their destruction, and which I will send to destroy you, and I will increase the famine upon you, and will break your staff of bread. So that's the Lord, man. He's breaking the staff of bread on how you deliver the food. Or I'm just calling it out by, I'm not in no particular order, but how you make the food, produce the food, grow the food, or whatever, raise the food, and ship the food, or package the food. Anything that all the logistic stuff that dealing with the food is being broken down, and there's nothing to hold it up, because while the Lord is breaking down the staff of bread, that staff is a support system for your food. And it's gonna get crazy out here. What else we got? El Nino and all this other stuff. Let me get a scripture on these storms and floods and tempests and hail coming down. Oh, people. On the people. Nahum chapter 1, verse 3. The Lord Yahweh is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. So, hey, man, all this destruction from the famine, the pestilence, all this stuff, and the floods and the natural disasters, earthquakes and stuff, heat waves, all this stuff, mosquito, all this stuff is for the wicked of Israel and you heathens. So yeah, don't think that ain't shit ain't happening to these folks yet, because it's about to happen. It's building up, and the Lord is just letting these niggas build up a case for their wicked asses so they can get destroyed and get caught up with all this destruction. You just pray like heaven, the Lord have mercy on you and give you the strength to endure, because we gonna be in this shit too. Yep. And the Lord Yahweh will have his way in the whirlwind and in the storm and the clouds of the dust of his feet. So the Lord, Yahweh and Yahweh Shah are creating all this disaster. You could say man got manipulation, weather pattern, machine stuff. so what? It's the Lord that's doing it. The Lord gave them niggas the technology. Well, it's ultimately the Lord and his angels doing that. He's using the angels to do so. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 2. Behold, the Lord Yahweh Shema shall have a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hell and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with their hand. Yeah, heavy rains, heavy floods, and all that stuff. Let me get to Isaiah chapter 29, verse 6. And thou shalt be visited of the Lord. It's the visitation of Yahweh Shema Shah, of hosts with thunder and with earthquakes in diverse places, and great noise like the sonic boom, like God say sonic boom. Anyway, well, there's a sonic boom in the skies, and you're gonna see a lot of meteors or whatever space junk flying through. It could be chariots, but either way, stuff flying in the sky, and it's lighting up the sky too. With storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. Yep. Let me get another one. We got, Luke chapter 21, verse 10. Then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Yeah, you got wars, World War III going on, and when you got these major wars going on, there gonna be other wars. People gonna be fighting each other for resources and such. Yeah, and when they have food, lack of food, and water and whatever else, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines. That's why I'm talking about food and pestilence. You got the parasites, wiggle worms, the cooties, and mosquitoes and ticks, and I don't know what else they genetically modify all kinds of shit just to bug the shit out of you people, plague the mess out of you. But it's ultimately through the Lord, man. Yahweh Shema Shah. And fearful sights. It's gonna be scary, spooky, ooky. You don't want to get stepped in. Yeah, you don't want to get caught up in this stuff. And great signs shall there be from heaven, like meteors. I don't know, some stuff. There's a lot of stuff up in the heavens, or stuff that's coming from the heavens. And really, it's all, hey man, it is coming from the heaven. All this, the plagues. I don't know what else to say, man. I'm tired, bro. I'm stumbling with my words, and I'm just like, I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm ready to go, bro. I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm ready to go. I hope I am ready, because you know, you say you ready to go, but are you really? That's why I just like, I don't want to sound like I'm not sure, but am I really ready? I hope I am ready to go. What I mean, I ain't ready. I mean, like, in my mind gonna be, I just pray the Lord have mercy on me, man. Hope my mind is ready to go and withstand whatever's about to go down. And you better do the same for yourself too. But anyway, I'm gonna close it out. I don't want to make it the video too long with me rambling. But seek the Lord by seeking his prophets, and take heed of what it's saying. Try to build a spiritual mental relationship with Yahweh Shema Shah by praying Yahweh Shema Shah, praising Yahweh Shema Shah, worshiping Yahweh Shema Shah, fearing Yahweh Shema Shah, and repenting to Yahweh Shema Shah. To all the men out there pushing this truth and nothing but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Shema Shah, keep on preaching, keep on teaching, keep your faith and trust on Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble. And for you few sisters out there taking heed, keep your faith and trust on Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble, stay in order with your man. If you ain't got no man, stay in order, Yahweh Shema Shah. Peace and bless to the hopeful elect, and all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. And I got one more scripture I want to read before I go. 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 37. Behold, the plague draw nigh, and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth great pains compass a womb which pains. When the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth. The world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So all these plagues is affecting the whole world. I ain't even reported a lot of news of stuff that's going on around all over the whole world, but it's enough to show you there's plagues going on in China, Belgium, Mexico, America, America, Antarctica, what else? El Nino, that's all over the world they talking about. Anyway, there's a whole lot of shit, and it's all coming from the Lord. The visitation of Yahweh Shema Shah. And that's all I got to say, man. But seek the Lord by seeking his prophets and repent and do the best you can do. Shalom.